Hi, thank you for watching Sealclops book reviews. Today I'm going to be talking about the Dreamland Billionaires Series by Lauren Asher. Enjoy! The Dreamland Billionaires Series, written by Lauren Asher, is made up of 3 books that can be read together or as standalones. The books are romance, contemporary, and new adult genres. So they try and make it as if they're everyday. They're a part of everyday life. There's nothing special, like no fantasy element, no science fiction, anything like that. It's just everyday occurrences, but of course they're billionaires. So how the books compare with other books in the genre. So I'm enjoying the contemporary feel in these books. This inclusivity of the work environment as well as the rest of their time away from work is nice to see. It makes the stories have more of a real world feel to them. And how does it match up to your expectations of that genre? So I really enjoyed the feel of these books. They fit into the contemporary romance genre smoothly. I can also see how they can be referred to as new adult in some places. They are not as heavy on the romance as some books in the adult genre would be, however they do have some spicy scenes that would not be suitable for a younger age bracket or younger genre. Once they start to get spicy, then it really gets spicy. There's no sort of in between. So first off is the fine print. This is the first in the series by Lauren Asher. So the summary. So Rowan, I'm in the business of creating fairy tales, theme parks, production companies, 5-star hotels. Everything could be all mine if I renovated Dreamland. My initial idea of hiring Sarah was good in theory, but then I kissed her. Things spiraled out of control once I texted her using my alias, or an alias. By the time I realised where I went wrong, it was too late. People like me don't get happy endings. Not when we're destined to ruin them. And then Sarah. After submitting a drunk proposal criticising Dreamland's most expensive ride, I should have been fired. Instead, Rowan Kane offered me a dream job. The catch, I had to work for the most difficult boss I'd ever met. Rowan was rude and completely off limits, but my heart didn't care. At least not until I discovered his secret. It was time to teach the billionaire that money can't fix everything, especially not us. Okay, so the analysis for this book. So plot and theme. The first book in the Dreamland Billionaires series focuses on the youngest of the 3 billionaire brothers, Rowan. Rowan is described as a former dreamer turned cold-hearted businessman who's instructed to improve his late grandfather's key business, Dreamland. If he succeeds, then he'll be rewarded with his share of 18% of the family business. Now the percentage is a bit different. It's 18% of the business, however it's a larger percent of money in total as his inheritance. They go over that briefly during the book. Sarah is a generational employee at Dreamland, meaning her family worked there before her. Her dream is to become a creator and use her inventions to help improve Dreamland for everyone. One night, after having too much to drink, Sarah takes a risk and submits a proposal ripping apart one of the theme park's most profitable attractions. The next 6 months we follow along as Rowan and Sarah work together to unlock Dreamland's full potential and also their feelings for each other. So this is pretty interesting. So the most profitable attraction, they actually go into detail saying that it was originally her idea, but then an ex stole it and completely turned it around and made it focus on the profits, not the experience, and made it awful. So it's an eyesore, and every time she sees it, she feels awful because he stole her idea and got her job and all that sort of stuff. So pacing, emotion, ending, and plot holes. The pacing of the book was very well executed. It flowed naturally without seeming rushed or dragged at all. The way the book hooked me and made me feel immersed was amazing. The way in which Rowan grows through the story is fantastically written. Not really a plot hole, but I would have liked to see what caused the father's behaviour to change so completely in this book. It may make an appearance in one of the other brothers' stories. I really enjoyed the epilogue, which took place 3 years later. It showed a glimpse into the future and how their relationship has progressed. The additional epilogue that was included in the paperback was a very sweet way to end the book as well. So I quite enjoyed it. Okay, and then the main characters. So we have Sarah Bullion and Rowan Kane. So Zara, she's curvy Dreamland salon worker. She wants to be a creator, she's vibrant, cheerful, and a pleasure to be around, has overcome a dark time in her past, wears a different honey pin each day, helps look after her special needs sister Annie, and has ideas to help inclusivity at Dreamland. So something that makes a first appearance in this book, and you'll see throughout all 3 books, is anything inclusivity related, or depression, disabilities, anything like that. It gets included in these novels, which I really like to see. You don't see that too much, or you never used to, so it's good to see that in these books. And Rowan Kane, he's tall, muscular and handsome, the youngest of 3 brothers, obsessive, possessive and a secret romantic. He's very creative, but was made to think he was unmanly because of it. He is emotionally closed off and goes through an emotional journey throughout the book, which was quite nice to witness and be a part of. Book 2 of the Dreamland Billionaires series is called Terms and Conditions. The summary for this book is about Declan and Iris. So Declan, I'm destined to become the next CEO of my family's media empire. The only problem, my grandfather's inheritance clause. Fulfilling his dying wish of getting married and having an heir seemed impossible until my assistant volunteered for the job. Our marriage was supposed to be the perfect solution for my biggest problem. But the more we act in love for the public, the more unsure I feel about our contract. Caring about Iris was never part of the deal, especially not when breaking her heart is inevitable. So, and then Iris. My plan to marry Declan was simple in theory. Move in together, throw a wedding, have a baby. We set rules to prevent any kind of issues, ones that we never meant to be broken, no matter how much Declan tempts me. But what happens when our fake relationship leads into a real one? Falling in love was never an option, at least not for me. The analysis for this book. As you can see, I wrote a fair bit. I tried to write it when it was fresh in my mind. So the plot and the theme. Terms and Conditions follows the eldest of the 3 billionaire Kane brothers, Declan. Declan is portrayed as a cold, manipulative and unfeeling person who will do anything to get his way. Throughout the book, you hear his inner thoughts reflect how he is working hard not to become his father, but we see that in what he is doing, he is becoming more like his father than ever before. In order to receive his inheritance from his late grandfather, Declan needs to become married and have a baby on the way. Yes, a bit ridiculous, but hey, it's a book. It is thought that by setting this as a condition to receive his funds, it will work to make Declan more human. For the first half of the book, we can see all the things Declan tries to avoid his emotions from taking over. Iris is a dedicated, hard-working overachiever. She is Declan's personal assistant, working around the clock to ensure the needs of Declan Kane are met, even at the expense of her own. This is really shown by her stepping into the role of Declan's fake wife and agreeing to birth his child in order for him to become CEO and gain his inheritance. It is obvious that no matter what she does, Declan does not seem to understand the extent of her devotion, to the point that both their work and their personal relationships suffer. So pacing, emotion, ending and plot holes for this book. So I enjoyed reading this book, quickly getting lost in the story and finishing the whole thing within 2 days. The story progressed fairly smoothly over the 470 odd pages, so it's a decent size. Although the romance was hinted from the very start, it did not really become apparent until over halfway through the book. From the summary, I was expecting the relationship to progress a bit sooner, but was not disappointed when it did occur. Saying that, when they accepted their feelings for each other, it seemed to happen too quickly in my opinion. It was like a flip was switched in Declan's head, from hating her touch to can't keep his hands off her in much too short a time for him to be believable. If he harboured secret feelings for her, it can be understood, but from the chapters and his point of view, that didn't seem to be the case in the beginning. Towards the end of the story, it was hinted that that was the case. This didn't seem to match previous information. It didn't seem to add up. It was a bit odd. And then some information about the main characters. So Iris Kane, once she becomes married, she takes on his surname. She's 24 years old with dark skin and dark hair. She was raised with an abusive father, very close with her mother and Nana, has dyslexia but works hard to overcome her learning disability. Self-proclaimed crazy plant lady, has no social life due to her work schedule. So You can see when you look at Declan, he is 36 years old, tall, muscular with dark hair and white skin. There's quite a bit of an age gap. All of these books, they do have a bit of an age gap, but this I'd say is the biggest from memory. So he raises his two younger brothers after their mother passed. He does not get along with his father. He's cold, emotionless and mean, lives and breathes work, and then he overcomes previous personality and becomes a better person. He definitely grows in this book. It happens too quickly, like I said before, like a flip of a switch. In between one chapter and the next, he goes from robot to has feelings and emotions, and it just doesn't seem authentic. But it was a fun read anyway, fun romance read. The final book in the Dreamland Billionaires series is called Final Offer. So the summary. This book is about Callahan, who is the middle brother, and his childhood sweetheart, Alana. Callahan. I'm the Kane brother everyone gossips about behind closed doors. Trust fund brat, washed up athlete, high-functioning alcoholic, no one knows the real me but her. Lena Castillo, my childhood best friend and the only woman I ever loved. When I broke her heart 6 years ago, I promised to never return to Lake Wisteria. I kept my word until my grandfather's will changed everything. To receive my inheritance, I was tasked with spending a summer at the family lake house before selling it. The request was simple in theory, until my entire plan blew up on the very first day. Turns out, Lana doesn't just live at the house, but she claims to own it too. And then Alana. Falling in love with Callahan Kane was a mistake. He told me so before destroying my heart and our friendship 6 summers ago. When he promised never to come back, I foolishly believed him. But then Cal showed up again, intending to sell his grandfather's lake house. The biggest flaw in his plan? My name is on the deed. So straight away you're like, okay, what's happening here? They both seem to own the house. What's going to happen? The analysis. So the plot and the theme. Final Offer is the last Dreamland Billionaires book featuring the middle brother, Callahan Kane. Cal is seen as the carefree, laid-back, irresistible brother. He is not seen as cold like his other two brothers originally come across as. Instead, he is always ready with a smile and a self-degrading joke. Cal's journey to gain his inheritance takes him away from office buildings and towards a rundown mansion on Lake Wisteria waterfront. As the owner of the mansion, he must spend the summer in the house before selling it. The only problem is, Alana lives in the mansion. And after leaving with the promise to never return, Cal's inheritance seems further away than ever. A lot has happened to Alana in the 6 years since Cal left her. Primarily, she has become a mother. Hammy is an adorable 5-year-old who is addicted to Dreamland princesses. She is a gifted young girl and a great judge of character. She instantly makes a connection with Cal and can see that both he and Alana still possess feelings for one another. The question throughout the story is, can they overcome their past to live happily ever after? When Hammy was introduced straight away, you're thinking, oh wow, okay, what happened there? It gets explained. There's no, spoiler here, there's no secret pregnancy or anything like that. Doesn't take that turn, which I quite enjoyed. Pacing, emotion, ending and plot holes. I have to admit, I struggled with this book more than the others. Not only was the longest out of the 3 books with a page count of 580 pages, but it was set away from the office environment the others incorporated. I had no problem with the different setting. I enjoyed the more relaxed environment of Lake Wisteria with the occasional flashbacks from when Lena and Kel were younger. What made the book seem to drag throughout the middle was Lena and her pessimism. It is no surprise that Cal battles with alcoholism throughout the series. It is understandable that Lena would be hesitant to accept him back into her life. Her constant ability to jump to the worst conclusions at the blink of an eye. At the blink of a hat. Okay, there we go, there's a new saying there. That is what got on my nerves. She seems to act all holier than thou when Cal slips and without even allowing him to explain his frame of mind. She locks him out and gives him the silent treatment. This frustrated me quite a lot. She came across as more of a toddler than the 5-year-old at some points. She made it really hard to read this book. I was struggling to get through her chapters because she was driving me a bit crazy. The book had a lovely ending for the whole gang, not just Cal's story. The extended epilogue was a real tearjerker with an emotional scene between Cal and Cammy. I loved their relationship throughout the entire book, so that was the definite highlight to the whole story, was Cal and Cammy's relationship. The main characters? So Alana, also known as Lana by Callahan, or Cal Costello. Childhood best friend and first love of Cal, roughly 30 years old. Adopted Cammy when she was 24 from her sister. In love with Cal, amazing baker, has a mystic outlook on life, and will do anything for her daughter Cammy. And then Cal, childhood best friend and first love of Lena, middle brother of 3, battles with addiction issues, so drinking, painkillers and sex pretty much. The main one is drinking. He wears a carefree facade. He is roughly 33 to 34 years old. Will do anything for his love for Alana. Falls in love with Cammy and would do anything for her. And he would make an amazing dad, as you can see throughout this book as well. The recommendation for these books. These books are fantastic if you're in the mood for a nice contemporary read. I'll admit that the angsty miscommunication causing the relationship to fall apart that occurred in all 3 was a bit much for me. But the overall stories were lovely once you get past these parts. I enjoyed the journeys all of the brothers had to go on to receive their inheritance. It made the stories different from other billionaire romances. And if you are willing to overlook some complete 180 emotional flips and focus on the happily ever after, these 3 books are worth a read. I gave these books a 3.5 stars out of 5. So I enjoyed the books overall. I had a few hang-ups with some of the characters and how they were written. Overall, an enjoyable series to read. Definitely worth a go. Well, thank you for watching my book review, or book reviews for the Dreamland Billionaire series. Sorry for all of the spelling errors and such in this one. I wrote this review very, very quickly while the books were still fresh in my mind, and I obviously didn't proofread it enough. But thank you for watching. Bye.